If you're interested in a particular oil painting topic, you can search in the playlist of my YouTube channel. If you wish to see more free videos and essays or to join our Facebook group, you can find the links in this video's description down below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, clicking the YouTube red and white logo. Thank you. Hello. Here I am again, thinking a little more about information on how to create portraits that look interesting, that move us with colors and shapes. Many of you have written to me about this topic, in addition to the most basic aspects, shape, light, and shadow. For example, right now, my face is more illuminated on this side than on the opposite side. My nose slightly blocks the light coming from one side, creating a projected shadow on the other side. Think of the head as a sphere. It looks lighter here and darker here. All of this is pretty basic. But today, I want to talk a little about a topic related to light and shadow, color temperature. The light that illuminates anything always has some color. As you can see in this painting, it's light on one side and dark on the other. I assume you've already studied the color wheel, because to learn about color temperature, we must study it. The warm side of the color wheel ranges from red to green, and the cool side ranges from green to violet. These are basically the two temperatures, cool and warm. To create an interesting and even impressive painting, you can have a certain balance or contrast between cool and warm colors in your painting. That is, a greater amount of paint of analogous colors of one temperature and a lesser amount of paint of a complementary color of the opposite temperature. For example, here on this part of the color wheel, warm colors are dominant with a greater amount, and the subordinate cool color has a lesser amount, consisting of the complementary color blue. The analogous dominant colors range from yellow to orange. It doesn't have to be three dominant colors and one subordinate color. Rather, there can be a greater number of analogous colors. The important thing is that they are opposite in temperature on the color wheel with a complementary color of opposite temperature. Here's another example with three warm colors ranging from orange to yellow and one cool color, green. The warm color from orange to yellow and the cool color, green. It's always good to maintain a balance. Dominant colors, which would be most of the paint of one temperature, and a smaller amount of the opposite temperature. Here you can see four warm colors, with red as the common color. Red is common to the four colors opposite the complementary blue. A family of warm dominant colors and blue as the subordinate cool color. Here you can vary the subordinate color. Instead of blue, it can be green or a different shade of green. Here's an example of a face where the illuminated side is of a cool temperature, while the shadowed side is of the opposite temperature. It could be just the opposite. One side can be warm or cool. The important thing is that there is contrast of color temperature. Here I'm showing a photograph with natural lighting. As you can see, the illuminated part of the fruit has warm colors, and the shadows look cool. In this portrait, you can see that almost the entire painting has warm colors. This portrait looks quite monochromatic, reddish orange, all warm. So I need to add a small amount of a cool color. It could be a blue, a green, or a violet in order to balance the temperature and add some interest to the painting. Here in this photograph, you can see that the frontal plane is a warm plane, while the lateral or oblique plane is cool. This same relationship happens in nature. Here I show a simplified graphical representation of what I mean. The side planes are cool and the frontal planes are warm. The color temperature also depends on the color of the light. All of this is visual. In nature, there is always a contrast between warm and cool colors. Let's now look at how to mix a color, considering color temperature in its practical application to a painting. For example, to obtain the cool green, we need to balance the reddish orange in the portrait we saw earlier. We can mix viridian, a green that leans towards blue, with a little bit of light cadmium red. Since they are complementary colors, they tend to gray each other. Of course, to avoid turning the mix into a neutral gray, we want one of the two colors to prevail, in this case, green. The green grays with the red. When the colors are dark, the resulting hue can't be evaluated very well, so we can add a little white, not much, to be able to see the green we want. This is the green we'll apply to the face on the side planes. As the skin turns, we know that cool colors tend to recede, while warm colors tend to advance. For this reason, we apply a cool hue in order to make the oblique plane appear to be receding. Some students have told me they have difficulty mixing complementary colors because they fear it will result in a dirty color. As you can see here, one of the colors prevails, the green. It didn't get dirty. We always obtain a chromatic gray, a gray that has color when one of the two complementary colors prevail. Whenever you continue to add and mix complementary colors in quantities that cancel each other out, you'll end up with what's called mud, a gray without character, a neutral gray that isn't chromatic. If you don't have a tube of viridian green, you can mix cadmium yellow light and ultramarine blue to obtain a green, as I'm showing here. When you begin to mix cadmium yellow light and ultramarine blue, you'll see that the resulting green will be too intense. That is, a very vivid green. The green color we want is a low intensity green, so you have to mix the green with a little bit of red. In this case, a cadmium red light. After lowering the intensity with the red, you must mix it with a little bit of white, as we did with the mixture of viridian green and cadmium red light. I have to remove a little bit of red from the mixture because it immediately dominates the green. For this reason, we add only a little bit of red until we bring the green to a low intensity where the green prevails. We don't want to overpower the green with too much red. We want it to still look green. After seeing that we have a low intensity green, we add white. This way we obtain the low intensity green color that we will apply when the skin turns. We apply it to the surface so it recedes, either on the side of the face, under the chin, or on the side of the nose. We can apply a cool color to all the planes that are receding in an oblique angle. You can see the mixed green, which isn't dirty. It's not a dirty hue. You can practice mixing this green on your palette and start applying it on the side of the face where we want the skin to turn and recede. This gives it the 3 dimensions. It gives it volume. It makes the surface not look flat, making the topography recede. You must carefully observe the direction the surface follows, its color and its temperature. Don't apply colors from memory or make blind attempts, but rather according to the color temperature you are observing. We apply this cool color because we see that this is how surfaces behave in nature. It takes a little time. You will have some difficulty learning to see color temperatures, but it can be achieved with some practice. I hope this has helped you, that it encourages you to evaluate the temperature differences between colors. Because many students have asked me about making their portraits look more natural, I say that you can improve by applying a warm frontal plane and a cool side plane. Wherever you see the lightest tones or values, then obviously you have to lighten them a little more with a mixture of white and a little, almost none, of the complementary color to the surface where you're going to apply the brushstroke. I can't give you a formula for you to apply it. It requires some observation on your part. Depending on what you observe, you mix the color on the palette and apply it to the corresponding area. In another video, I show in detail how to think in terms of color pieces, like a jigsaw puzzle. As you can see, practically all the colors in the portrait are of low intensity. There aren't many intense colors in nature, except perhaps in flowers and fruits. But in human skin, obviously, there are almost no colors that are of high intensity. I urge you to practice with chromatic grays. There is an immense variety of grayish colors, but all, as I said before, all chromatic colors that have some color, either tending toward warm colors or tending toward cool colors. This temperature contrast in your paintings is what makes your paintings look interesting and impressive. It's very practical to simplify and classify colors into families with warm temperatures, yellow, orange, and red, and families with cool temperatures, green, blue, and violet. Of course, any of these colors can be warmed or cooled with complementary colors. Here's the final result. The green was applied unevenly. This depends on the particular way you want to apply the color. You can see the detail there. I hope this helps you in your paintings. Until next time. If you're interested in a particular oil painting topic, you can search in the playlist of my YouTube channel. If you wish to see more free videos and essays or to join our Facebook group, you can find the links in this video's description down below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, clicking the YouTube red and white logo. Thank you.